Hey all, this is Andrew. Welcome to Atomo. It is Friday, December 30th, and you've probably been seeing some Andrew Tate and Greta Thunberg back and forth. Looks like it's easy enough to find this stuff. It looks like Andrew Tate was bragging about the cars that he had and that he could send a list over to Greta, and then Greta basically called him on the smallness of his manhood through an email address to which Tate could send the car information. Then, lo and behold, when you take on the religion of climate change and you go to one of the high priestesses of the climate change church, then the church will send their inquisition. And that happened. There's a lot of video about the takedown in Romania, where Tate has a I guess a house slash shooting range. So there's a picture where they had these guns on the table and brass knuckles and other things, and it looked like, oh, well, you shouldn't have that in the house because Romanian laws are quite tight on that. But unless you are a have a shooting range, or I think classified as a shooting range, which I think he said he claims, and this is all claimed that he did. So the door kickers come and pick him up, and then there's a claim that, well, there was a pizza box in one of the videos that he was showing, and the pizza box shows that he's definitely in Romania. That's kind of like, well, come on. There's some Twitterati that are saying, well, I broke the thing. I told him where it is because I saw the pizza boxes, and passport control has all the documents, so they know where the guy is. He just banged on the doors of climate change church, and in they came, took him away. Then it's kind of funny though. With Greta's parting word was, "Should have recycled your pizza box." So go have a look at that. Well, what usually happens in these things is, well, those shenanigans are playing around, and I should have saved that for Sunday shenanigans, but well, it was too good to kind of let up. Um, other things happen. So let's go to Russia for a moment. I don't have all the notes and stuff to put up, so I'm just going to talk about this again. No financial advice here or legal advice. Just this is just stuff that's floating around. Uh, so Dmitry Medvedev, used the former president of Russia and former prime minister, has been granted a new position. So he's going to become the head of the Military Industrial Commission chaired by Putin himself. So there, the Putin videos that came out show that he's going to basically blow the doors open on the military budget. It's about, well, a part of the, I guess, one of the, if you want to look at the game board again and look at the Russian setup on the game board, by doing the special military operation, they get to clean their system out. And what I mean by cleaning the system out is, as you ramp up your military complex, and even after COVID and all the supply chain problems, and you put like a very significant lens to it. And this is something that I think the Russians are doing, well, if you think about it from a systems perspective, doing it quite well, is the lens that they're bringing to their military industrial complex is the one of, where do we have waste within our system? Because being a smaller regional power, like the gardeners in the EU would say, they have to be very careful with the amount of waste that's being siphoned off of the system. You can't expect that all the money that goes into your military budget, one for one, is going into building the appropriate materiel for your and training for your people. The United States is a core example of the amount of waste that happens, and you see some of those military contracts. a light bulb could cost $500 when you could buy it at the hardware store for $1.50. So this gives them a chance to start cleaning those problems out, and where they find waste and corruption, they're going to come down hard on that. And Medvedev has really been changing his stance. He's becoming quite the hawk, and it looks like there's some possible salivating of a military industrial complex within Russia. I have a hunch, pure speculation, pure hunch, that you might have a bit of the New York banks helping out. Again, this speculative hunch, I just could be talking out of my backside here. But there's a long history of the United States and Russia working together, because even during the Independence War, Russia came to the aid of the independents who were trying to break from Britain, and Britain still has a thorn in their side about this. So alleged Nord Stream pipelines and things like that. Russia called out it was the Anglo-Saxons, didn't specify Americans, didn't specify Germans, specified Anglo-Saxons. And I have to give some assumption that their intelligence knows what's happening. Our intelligence groups are not slouches, but no, nobody's giving me any information. I can just consider some analysis here. So what's happening, one of the things that the special military operation is doing is it's helping them to make their systems more efficient. While Ukraine seems to be throwing a lot of material around and just throwing it away, and then asking the world to give them more material, and we're seeing kind of the slow rate at which material. Okay, you can't just go and give them NATO equipment. You're giving them some of the old Warsaw Pact equipment, but now they're trying to get some older equipment over as well. So they're taking old equipment out of the militaries around the world and providing those for the conflict. So consider that. As they keep working at this, they're going to start to debug a lot of these problems that are happening in the supply chain. Okay. Next thing I want to jump over to is there is some. Lebanon is now starting to send out signals that due to it looks like with the change of the Israeli government, that there's Israeli defense forces are potentially preparing for a third Lebanon war against the Hezbollah. So we have to start seeing how the connection points are coming together here. It's quite possible that there might be some regional conflicts, especially with this comes in line with there's information from Turkey and Syria. The Moscow talks look like they're have come to a completion, in which Turkey is consenting to withdraw their forces from the occupied areas in the north of Syria. And it looks like there is a specific highway that's in the area. I believe they call it the M4. And so they're going to withdraw behind this M4 highway. So the Kurdish groups were backed by US and potentially Israel. Again, I don't have full information on that. But as these groups start to realign, Turkey is positioning themselves for the new. I mentioned this in other videos. They're positioning themselves for to become a new energy hub in the area. Because now, to corroborate this a little bit more, is there's now a change. There's a Bloomberg article that popped up that Turkey's central bank is going to shift from dollars to liras as its top objective. So that is something to keep an eye on as they start to make currency shifts and start to retool for the new global south and the BRICS Plus that's now emerging more and more. You'll probably see a lot of this in 2023. And I'll look to do a bit more analysis on this, that the global south is kind of disconnecting from the petrodollar. And petrodollar, I said this in another video, is basically dead now. I got once Saudi Arabia made a pivot. They basically broke with the old way of things, and what we're going to start seeing is as Jerome Powell said, there is room for more than one reserve currency in the world, and we're going to start to see that. And potentially, I think here's a prediction here, is there's going to be one of these countries is going to bring gold into play in a very serious way. So look for signals where countries are now buying more and more gold. I believe China, Russia, India like doing that in order to create enough backstop to allow the price of gold to rise. And I believe this is going to be done in conjunction with some of the big New York banks as well. They're going to do the same thing. And at some point, what I suspect is, again, this is my hunch and something that I think might happen, is the New York banks and this new financial, might be a new financial instrument coming into play that's going to use gold in ways that we haven't seen before. So some of that, just 2023 could be a very golden year as far as financial changes. But again, this is just conjecture, but starting to see some more dots appearing on this. And with that, have a good one, and just look for all the miracles, however you can make them happen, coming up in the new year. I might be here again tomorrow, but if I'm not here again tomorrow for kind of a New Year's night thing, then hopefully you have a great day.